Tommy,
Correct.
that's very kind of you because I'll just sue you again for defamation.
Yeah, good luck. How much money have you had so
That's all
far?
you do is put gag orders on people and sue them
Well,
for
no,
fake
it's actually
defamation.
part of the law that when somebody lies about somebody else, then there is a
Mohammed,
consequence to
let's
pay.
watch the film,
And
Mohammed.
Tommy
Watch the film.
himself has, I'm glad this space is recorded, just committed a defamation to the many thousands of followers that are
No,
there.
he said according to, and he
I don't
quoted the
care what he
source.
said. You
He
know,
said according
you're
to
not
and quoted
exactly
the
a
source.
lawyer, are you?
Against me too.
And
Your voice is really
Tommy's
asleep and
Tommy's no,
your
it's all right. Don't worry. No, Tommy's already had experience with the court. He knows what a defamation case is, and the first minute he opens his mouth towards me, he commits a defamation. So I understand, Tommy, that you're now employed. Very well done for you, and you'll be hearing from me. Thank you.
Mohammed, is there any truth to what he said about your brother? I'm just curious as a third party.
None whatsoever. That's why it's a defamation. Thank you again, Tommy.
No problem, Mohammed. You'll get as much money as you did last time. Everyone has seen how you operate. Anyone who's watched the film Silenced is aware that you are part of it. You try and silence people. The truth was told. Yeah, you operated to destroy me ideologically. You care
You don't
ideologically.
have an ideology, Tommy. You're a
You care
fraudster. You're a
ideologically.
convicted fraudster. You're a grifter. You've taken money off your own followers, stuck it up your nose, apparently, according to other papers, and well, according to some of your own followers, frankly. And
Mohammed,
Okay,
also,
real quick.
so
Okay,
what is your ideology,
stop,
Tommy
stop, stop,
Robinson?
stop, stop, stop. Okay, you can work this out.
British.
Yeah, you can work this out in a minute. Kyle, please jump in.
Well, I was interested. I was listening. You do a quick Google and you go to Wikipedia or a left-leaning source, you'll find out that they call him a white nationalist, which is interesting. That'll be my second conversation with a cool white nationalist in the last 2 days. So I'm batting 1,000. I'm enjoying that. Thanks for being in the space, Tommy. Teddy, what I did is a quick little search about men who hide behind teddy bears. And the number one result said that they're all pedophiles. So I'm not saying that you're a pedophile. I'm just saying that when I looked at the Google results, what I found was that Google insinuated that you might be. This is the equivalent of what you just brought in here, just so
One
you
second,
know how
Carl. If I
silly
may
and
say
stupid that
something
was.
that
Isn't
may
that
help,
Nobody cares what
incompatible
you
if
have
I
with
to
may
say,
say
Muhammad's
something that
position?
may help you,
Mohammed.
for
I'm
the
not waiting
record,
for what you have to say.
Tommy Robinson, in my view, is not a racist, right?
What
That's
does that
for
have
the
to do with
record.
the
No,
pedophiles that
because to
like teddy
talk,
bears?
I'm not sure what you're talking about pedophiles, but just
Oh,
for the record, from
it
my
is
view,
confusing.
and having looked at Tommy Robinson's history in some detail, I don't believe him to be a racist.
I don't care what you think, Mohammed, to be honest, and no one else does. Teddy,
I would like to know what your ideology is, though.
my ideologies, it's anything that prevents men having sex with children, like your prophet did. Anything that promotes it. When we have grooming gangs out of control in this country, when 90% of the convictions for gang rape of children in groups in this country are Muslim men and 30% share the same name as you. I have a problem with it. I talk about it. I'm only sounding like this with you, Mohammed, because I know how much you've ideologically opposed me. If I was talking to an average Muslim, I wouldn't probably sound as hostile, but I know where you stand. You stand on the side of terrorism. You stand on the side of Michael Balajo. I've looked at who you're linked with. You're linked with radical groups, Islamists, all of them. So you have a political ideology that is pushing you. That's why you wanted me silenced. You wanted me silenced because I'm in the process of waking my country up to the problems around the ideology that you want to enforce on this nation eventually. So that's why you have a problem with me. And
Actually, no, Tommy.
your problem
If
is,
you had looked at your email addresses, if you'd looked at your emails before all of this debacle with the Syrian refugee boy, you would have seen that I actually agreed with you on certain points regarding the Walton Bassett issue, and that you appeared originally in your earlier career to have a legitimate problem with a certain group, Al Muhajiroon, that were plaguing Luton, and I agreed with you on that. And actually, I offered you, I have the email somewhere, whether you want to organize a sit down with the community, but you didn't reply, and that's fine, right? But to say that someone is something, that they've looked at the ideology because of links that someone has through their work, is
Mohammed,
to
I've
not
seen the receipts.
understand the
Mohammed,
difference between
I've seen the things you
between
say.
someone's private views and their public work.
I've
Okay,
seen
I
the
got a
things you
question
say.
for you.
Mohammed, I've seen
Wait,
the
wait,
things
I
you
got a
say.
question. I got a question for Country.
Hold on one second.
Mo,
Wait, no, no, seriously. It's
Why don't you
up in
remind
the
everyone?
Jumbotron. I just want to ask a Country. Did
Lisa,
you
hold on one
sue the
second.
Telegraph for defamation? Did you sue that because that isn't that article about you? Did you sue them for defamation? I'm just curious.
No, I
Mohammed,
didn't.
the problem is, Mohammed, the problem is that you tried to intimidate me, like you do everyone else, with to silence me when I was telling the truth about a fraud that you were committing on the British public. You were deceiving the public into believing a Syrian boy was a victim of racial bullying and the English boy was bullying him. That's what you were doing, yeah? That's what you were in the process of doing. Then you got upset because you raised £180,000 in 48 hours, and then everyone stopped donating once I told them the truth. So you were upset. You were
So
part
that
of a...
issue was tested in court, wasn't it, Tommy? Yeah,
Tested in court
about
by
Everybody,
jury.
whether
Tested
or
in court by
not
jury.
that
everybody,
was
please,
true.
Was
everybody,
it
welcome to
tested in
Mice
court by
Media. We
jury?
got a great show breaking out here. Please retweet the room, follow the guests on stage. We have
Mohammed,
all
Mohammed,
sides here. It's a
if you
free for
watched in
all.
court,
Jump
Mohammed,
back
so
in.
Mohammed, let me ask you this, right? You've seen the film, obviously, yeah? You're aware of what the teacher said. Jamal got caught with a knife and screwdriver in his school bag. It's in the school records. Jamal stabbed another pupil with a compass. It's in the school records. The word stabbed was used. What was my accusation against him? I said he threatened to stab someone. How can I be found guilty of defamation by saying he threatened to stab
The,
someone?
did you ever see the school records? Did you bother to go and
I
get them?
got them, Mohammed.
Yeah, so did I, actually.
I've got
Uh,
them. They're in the documentary. Okay, not my words. The words were from his father. The minutes from the meeting from Jamal's dad, who's called Jihad. Yeah, Jamal's dad said that he talked about his son getting taken to the office with his school bag, and they found a knife and a screwdriver in his bag. The words of the teacher says that Jamal was reprimanded because he stabbed. I went and wore a hidden camera and interviewed the black boy in his house without him realising to ask him what happened. Jamal drew blood when he attacked him. There was 5 kids he attacked that day. So how can I be found guilty? You keep saying you got found guilty by a court. Yeah, by Justice Nicklin. Justice Nicklin, who fell out of his own father before the court trial about me. Yeah. So Justice Nicklin, 7 teachers gave evidence on covert recordings that justified and supported exactly what I said. Yeah? You weren't happy with what I said. It was the truth. You were happy to see the English boy's life destroyed while you pumped a lie. Jamal's record, his school records, if you want to talk about his school records, were full of accusations of his lies. Yeah?
they were, you know what, the issue to do with the knife as well, you raise that as an issue, yeah? You say that a knife was found in a school bag. That is in the school records. When that matter was referred to the police, when the CCTV was reviewed about that, it was found that others, the people that so-called made the complaint, had actually
Pathetic, Mohammed.
stolen it from the CDT class and placed it in his bag and then reported him.
No,
But
Mohammed,
you missed that out, though,
no,
didn't
I've got
you?
the whole school records. That's a lie, yeah? The other thing is he had a scalpel threatening a girl in his hand as well, in another school record, yeah? In fact, he had his own caseworker. His own caseworker from the council in his emails said Jamal is not the innocent, these are his words, not mine. Jamal is not the innocent party he portrays himself as. Did you listen to the footage when the Asian teacher spoke to me at the door? What do you think of the fact all the teachers were paid not to tell the truth? What do you think of the fact that Miss Paul Kumar, the teacher, was given £18,000? What do you think of the fact the head teacher's life was destroyed and all of them lost their jobs because
Well,
of his lie?
you know what? I did look into. Haven't seen your documentary. I wasn't, and to be absolutely honest, I wasn't interested in that
Of course you
after
have.
the
Of
thing
course
was.
you have.
I
You're
haven't.
lying. You're lying. You're lying, Mohammed.
Tommy,
Everyone
do you
knows
know
you're
who
lying.
the only authorities on whether I've watched something or not is? It's me, not you.
Okay.
You can't tell me what I've done. And actually, the issue about intimidation, you're the guy who plays knockdown ginger on people's homes. You went round basically intimidating people's
You
parents.
need to
That's
watch
the
the
only
film.
reason.
You need to
Sorry.
watch the film. It's all on the film. I went and knocked at someone's door who had sent someone to threaten to murder my children. All the footage is on the film. Yeah, you, Mohammed, sat down and hired an Antifa activist. You gave him my kid's home address. I know where you live, Mo. Have I ever come to your house? I've got your
You
address.
come to my colleague's house. Weren't the
No,
police called for that?
I'll come
You
to your
sent a
colleague's house.
deranged monster to his house while he
You
was away
hired,
in Finland on
Mohammed, you
purpose.
hired an
You're a
Antifa
scumbag.
extremist. You
I
hired
hired
an
somebody to deliver court
who's the
papers to
person
your
you hired?
door.
Who's the
Yeah,
person
who'd
you
you
hired?
hire?
The person who is willing to do it.
Yeah, and how did you get in contact with him? So you hired someone who you knew hated me, and you gave him my children's home address.
A deranged journalist.
That's
A
what you've done.
deranged
Tommy,
journalist that had
the
threatened his
problem with your
children in
home
the
the
past.
problem with your home address is that you've lied to the court previously about your home address.
What are
You
you
know,
talking about?
what do you mean when you were in court? You've given the wrong addresses to courts. It's actually a matter that's reported in the press. The
No, it's not.
problem is with you, Tommy, is
The
that
address
you're a
that you
convicted
told, you
fraudster.
hired someone.
You're a
Mohammed, you
convicted
hired someone who lied to
fraudster.
put
You
on my
got
children.
convictions for having domestic violence with your missus,
That's a
for
lie.
attack.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Hold on.
Thank you. I'll be suing you for that.
Oh,
Thank you.
great.
You're lying. I'll
I'll
be
look out for it.
arresting you.
Yeah, you got convictions for assault on an undercover officer,
You're lying,
right?
Mohammed. You just
Oh, I'm
lied.
lying,
So,
am I?
Mohammed, are you going to correct
It's
your
a
lie?
matter of record.
Are you going to correct your
You're
life?
talking about when he was
Then
like 18 years old
tell me what your
and a
convict.
random
Why
guy
don't you
pulled
give
over
us
him
a
with a
list?
car?
Why don't you
Stop.
give us a list of your
Said I've got a
corrected?
conviction for domestic abuse.
Kanji, you're totally
Mohammed,
twisting his record
You
right
had
now.
a conviction for an assault, with your partner, where where an off-duty police officer got involved, and then you were arrested, weren't you, for
A
assaulting the
drunk guy
off-duty
at a
police
bar.
officer?
A drunk undercover agent at a bar outside a pub. Is that what you're really going with now, Akanji?
It's a matter of record.
Yeah, you're just twisting things. That's what you do. You lie and you twist things
Lisa,
because you don't want it to erase your narrative or your bankroll.
you've got a
And let's go
very,
back. Wait, let's go
you're
back to
clearly very happy to follow
let's
Tommy
go back
Robinson.
to
Yeah.
let's go back to Akanji, you and your connections here. So you're going to sue Tommy for defamation for things that were already out in the public record, like that article that I just put up there. Let's talk about your ties to terrorists and the people that you represent. Let's
Can I
try
just
that.
ask him one more thing, just so all the listeners understand what happened, yeah?
Sure, hon.
Just so they understand what happened, okay? In December, my family was sat down. They were given an Osman warning, which is an official warning saying there's a danger to life. The police officers, which I recorded, sat and said that the threat is from Antifa. They're arming themselves with an AK-47 machine gun and they want to kill you and your family. Yeah. When I put that threat online, the first two people to comment on it were Mohammed Akanji, okay, and an independent journalist for the independent newspaper. They're the first two people to comment. 4 weeks later, after knowing my family were under threat from Antifa, who are arming themselves to kill them, Mohammed Akanji hires an Antifa activist, and he sits there. It's all in the film and documentary that he says he hasn't watched. He sits there and he hands this Antifa activist my children's address, and he tells them to live stream the serving of papers. They then travel to my family's home when they know by the comments they make that I'm not in the country. Yeah. So this is why, if I sound irate and angry, it's because this man has terrorised my family and been allowed to get away with it. I have not reacted. I know where he lives. I know where his family live. I've not done that because I'm not a coward. Yeah. But what they've done is, because they couldn't play me because I didn't back down from their threats. Yeah. Because that's what they tried to do to silence me. They then went for my children's home. They live streamed where my children live. My children were terrified. They had to press a panic button. The police come. The man that he got to come to my house later that night made a video saying he's going to murder my children. My children had to leave their home. They never went back there. That resulted in my divorce. This is what this man was allowed to do. He was allowed as a solicitor, who is a solicitor for every terrorist there is, yeah? If you've raped, pillaged or murdered in the name of Islam, Mohammed Akanji is your man, yeah? So that's what he done to my family. And he sits on here talking with his posh voice as though he's innocent. He's not. He is enforcing, he's part of an ideology which is destroying this nation. And because I stand up against it, he uses every lawfare tactic he can, because with the backing he has, to try and target me, which is what's happened. The only problem for him is people are aware and watch his lies, people know his lies, and that's what he's done. So when he sits here talking about this, he hired someone who then threatened to murder my family. Yeah, that's what they've done. My family had to leave that home and never went back to it. They never went back.
That is always your spin, isn't it?
Tell me what happened,
Yeah.
Mohammed.
But
Tell me what happened.
you've served. Well, so an individual. We actually tried to get people
You'd
to
already sent the letters to
volunteer
recorded
to
delivery.
come.
You've already
Yeah.
sent the letters to recorded delivery.
We didn't know because you've lied many times about where you
You
live
thought,
as to whether or not that particular address was your address. And you would no doubt have claimed that you haven't received anything. No letters or nothing was handed to your family. It was handed to a police officer that was then passed to your family. Nobody asked that individual to live stream anything, or certainly not from our side.
We have that guy
The
in the
point.
office. There's video of that guy in your office. What are you
Yeah,
talking
yeah, we
about?
gave it to him. We didn't ask him to live stream anything, and certainly not.
Okay, well, why would you
Actually,
give it to a YouTuber instead of an official, an official person that does this for a living? Why would you do
Processor.
that?
nobody wanted to go and take up the case of delivering anything to Tommy
Why
Robinson
didn't you
because of his
deliver it?
violent history.
You're gonna do a deranged guy who's threatened Tommy's children. You're gonna have him instead. Why didn't you deliver it, Akanji?
Well, I've got many things to do, like lawyers do, and they usually pass on the
It's funny
delivery
because
of
Tommy
posts
gets
to others.
service. Tommy gets service from all other people who are official that aren't YouTubers that are happy
the
to do
process
it.
for serving papers is you hire a company who are professionals at serving papers, usually ex-police officers. That's the service. That's how it operates. What you done was you told
That
us
is
the truth.
true, but to do it times 8 times for the various dresses you've stated to the courts
That's a lie.
before
So you
is a
hire
waste
a
of
leftist
resources.
activist with red freaking
People,
flaming hair and a deranged
Lisa, you can't
YouTube
be
volunteers
mad
channel
at
to
him
wanting
do
to
for
it.
do
trying
it.
to save a budget. He's trying to ball on a budget. He's just trying to find the cheapest
He
service
wasn't. He
process.
was
That
trying.
seems
He was trying to
reasonable.
cause maximum problems to the family home. He was trying to upset the
That's
family.
reasonable. Can we cover down on something that was brought up and I didn't hear it addressed? Is knockdown ginger an expression in the UK that I don't understand? Like, what does that
What he's
mean?
saying is, so what he's saying,
Seems
when they
racist.
sent people to my home that night, yeah, I then looked at who had done it, and one of the men that was part of it was a man called Mike Stutchbury. So after the man threatened to murder my children, I went on my own and I knocked on his door. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. And then
Is that called knockdown ginger though?
that's when
That's the
kids knock on doors and run
No,
off.
I wasn't referring to that, Tommy. I was referring to the various times you've knocked on other people's doors, sometimes in the middle of the night, with a team of people, and
Do
then
you want to tell me who?
basically
Tell me
intimidate
who?
them.
Tell me who?
is that a
Shall I
common
give
Go
a
on, Mohammed.
list?
Tell
expression?
me who.
Somebody cover. Can
I'll have
someone
to get
explain
a
to me what
list of
that
people.
means?
Tommy, this is not something I've sat down and decided that I'm going to have off the top of my head a list
Stop
of your
lying.
career. All right, but then we're talking
Kanji,
about
why don't you
your.
just tell us the
We're
name of the
talking.
person so that we can put it up in the jumbotron for everybody? We have that video of him sitting in your office and you hiring him, and then the things we said. Why don't we let the audience decide? Why don't you tell us who you hired?
He eyed Dick
Well,
Cochran, who's now chief of
what
police.
I'm asking for is Tommy to explain his own criminal record. He said that I've lied about his
Yeah,
criminal
Mohammed.
history.
Mohammed, you said I was done for domestic abuse. You've lied. Yeah, you've lied. To everyone in here, you've lied. So do you want to correct yourself? Stop talking.
What was the assault for in 2005?
And nothing to do with domestic abuse. I've not been convicted for anything to do with domestic abuse. I've never been arrested for domestic abuse. I've never assaulted a woman. So you've lied. You've lied. You're
Were
the one
you
who knows
having an
everything. So why
argument
don't you
with
tell
your
me?
were you having an argument with your ex-partner where an off-duty policeman intervened and then you got convicted
No, no.
of assaulting
If
the
you know the
F-duty?
case, Mohammed, you're the one who says you know the case. You've lied. Yeah. If you know the case and read the court
Tommy,
papers,
you're the expert on lying, yeah? So
you've lied.
do I have to
So
defer
wait,
to
so
your
Akanji, you're telling me
expertise?
so a guy gets in an argument with his girlfriend. Some drunk guy who nobody knows is an undercover officer comes and starts pushing people around, and they get in a fight. You're telling me that is domestic abuse and
I'm
something
telling you,
that you're going to bring up for Tommy from 2005? Get a life. You're such a loser. Oh,
when that goes to court and the person gets convicted of assault,
it's
then
Tommy
that's
Robinson. He
what
gets
makes
convicted
it
of everything because they hate him.
using
Just look
false
at your
documents
case.
to enter the United States. That should be something you're concerned about,
Mohammed,
Lisa.
what,
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm
Mohammed,
trying to get him here. I
For
almost got him
mortgage
here. I almost
fraud in
was very close.
2014, yeah, and 13 months for contempt of court as
Mohammed,
well.
Mohammed, how many times have I had a jury? None.
0.
Not once. So every time, like you're talking about like, oh, you were done for lying in the Jamal case. 7 teachers. The judge's ruling was that 7 teachers and 5 pupils that went to court and testified. One girl who went to court to testify, Jamal beat her up with a hockey stick. Another girl who went to court. These are girls I don't know. Another girl went to court and testified that he spat in her face and attacked her. Another boy testified that he witnessed it. Another boy
So,
testified. All these things were testified in court.
so why did you, before any court proceedings were launched, you'll agree that we sent you a letter, yeah, and then you produced a video where you said you'd been had. Yeah, do you remember
No,
that?
no, that's a totally different story. You're on about a totally different story. And that was nothing to do with Jamal. So you're lying again. So you're lying again.
Nothing to do with Jamal.
It's nothing to do with
Okay.
Jamal. It's to do with another girl getting attacked by another group of pupils. Nothing to do with Jamal. You're lying. Yeah, you're lying. So you're lying again, Mohammed. The point is, the judge ruled that 7 teachers and 5 pupils who all went to court and gave evidence. His ruling was sometimes people lie. They don't need a reason to lie. We'll charge those 5 pupils for perjury then, the judge, yeah? He done what he had to do in order to bankrupt my life because it's ideological, because it's part of the state, because they wanted to destroy my life, yeah? That's what it was about.
Why would the state want to destroy your life, Tommy? You've written a whole book about it.
Yeah.
Enemy of the state. You think that this
So
state,
Mohammed, you tell me.
Britain,
Mohammed, you tell me.
do you think that Britain is pro-Muslim? Do you think
Mohammed,
that?
answer me the question. If I was convicted of saying that Jamal threatened to stab someone, the school records show he did stab someone. The teacher's words were stabbed. So how can I be defaming someone if he goes around school stabbing people? And I said he threatened to. How can a ruling ever go against me on that? How? And not just go against me, but they made sure by the judge's injunction that no one's allowed to know the evidence. How? If you're a lawyer, tell me. If someone
Well, then, if you care about the injunction, why do you then produce a whole video about it? If you believe in the law on one hand, but you don't on the other.
I made the film before court. I made the film to show the public what had happened. And then when the judge was made aware that I had a film, he wrote an injunction covering every single bit of covert recordings to hide the truth from the public, to deceive the British public, exactly what you were doing with your lie that you were pumping around the globe on TV to say that Jamal was a victim of racial bullying. You sat there and said that his arm got broken in a similar racist attack. His arm got broken when he was attacking a boy 4 years younger than him, according to the head teacher on covert recordings, after calling the young boy's mum a white slag. Again, not according to me, Mohammed, according to the witnesses. Now, you have lied.
The witness. One second, hold on. So this is the witnesses who had broken his arm, right, and then given a story to the school about how that had come out. Even though that didn't even happen in the school, that happened outside the school. Police were involved in that
And they
as
cleared the
well.
boy. And the police were involved and they found out nothing, that no one got in trouble for breaking his arm.
On either side, yeah, on either side. But obviously, kids, Tommy, will tell stories on both sides, won't they? Right?
The head teacher is on recording. The head teacher says what happened. Everyone in school knows what happened. The school records show what happened, Mohammed. They all show it. Yeah, you can continue to try and lie, but anyone who's seen it, everyone knows the truth. I told the truth.
Well, the truth is, Tommy, that a kid it was on video. It went viral before anyone's involvement, right?
No,
Now, this kid.
No, it didn't.
Was,
No.
what are you talking about?
It didn't go viral. The incident happened.
It's funny that a fraudster will call me a liar.
The incident happened 6 weeks prior. The incident happens weeks prior. You planned it. That incident happened weeks later. You put in a criminal record check on Jamal's family. When the criminal record check come back clean, the video went viral 24 hours later. You planned it.
You know what? You like to.
It's all on the film.
And it's fair. It's fair that you aren't privy to what's happened. You aren't privy to what's happened.
Real quick, gentlemen, we have a question from the audience because we sort of passed over it. We're still wondering, the audience is still wondering what knockdown ginger actually means. Please go ahead, answer the question. Thank you.
Okay, so.
Unmute yourself, Akunji.
Fair question. Sorry, knockdown ginger is a bit of a British anachronism. It's where kids play a game, sort of an unpleasant game, where they just sort of knock on someone's door, wait, and then run away, and they get amusement out of it. That's it.
Imagine a man trying to throw that accusation against me, who hired an Antifa extremist that made my children barricade themselves inside their bedroom.
Which, by the way, I put that video of Akunji hiring him up in a jumbotron. If anybody wants to watch
it, everyone can see it. Imagine him trying to throw this accusation at me. Yeah, who hired someone to terrorise my kids. You're a coward, Mohammed, yeah? And your problem is that I don't shut up. And your problem is that the threats of legal action didn't work. I continue to tell the truth. I'm still here now and will continue to tell the truth. That doesn't matter if I get imprisoned, because when I come out of prison, I'll continue to tell the truth. You're the liar. You're the fraud. Yeah? You're the liar, you're the fraud. You're the one who represents every terrorist going. You're the one, not me, okay?
So you don't believe in an English justice system where an accused is going to have a right to a legal defense. You don't believe in that. So the next time you're accused, Tommy, we shouldn't waste our taxpayers' money on anyone defending you. And actually, I don't know why the CPS or the legal aid people do that, basically, because you're always asking for money from your followers for defending yourself.
When we say justice system, what was the legal fees for this court case that you're talking about? How much were the legal fees for a child getting a bottle of water poured over his head in a playground? £345,000, doubled to £700,000. That talks to me about legal fees. It's financial terrorism, and it's not a justice system; it's a legal system. And that legal system is used to destroy the lives of anyone who stands up. Hence me.
You were given the opportunity to not take this to court and to settle.
Yeah, you wanted £50,000 for telling the truth, and I refused that. And I sat down and refused it still. Do you know what? While you're here, let me read you something. While we're on here, let me read you something. I'll actually share these messages, just so you know the damage you've done, yeah? Just so you can read this. Oh, no, they've gone. Where was I sent them to? Actually, I don't know. That child whose life you destroyed by lying about him, yeah? That child whose life you destroyed by lying about him is still suicidal. He was messaging me just this week about taking his life. You done that. with your lies. You lied and said it was a racist attack. The police found it wasn't. But by the time you've done your damage and done the media tour, telling everyone the reason why he was attacked was because he was Syrian. I went to other Syrian refugees' houses. They've settled in great in that school. No racism in the school. This wasn't about racism. It wasn't about him being a refugee. It was about him terrorising people in the school. That's what it was about.
And you saw that his sister was attacked. There was a video of that straight
Mate,
after.
I've got
You don't
footage.
recall?
I've got footage which I didn't include because I thought she was nothing to do with it. Of 4 different people whose house I went to, whose children were attacked by his sister. Yeah. So that family come into the town and cause mayhem. Yeah. His sister attacked girl after girl. I've got the recordings. I've got the recordings from the fathers, the mothers, and the kids. Yeah. So it took me as a journalist to investigate this. One of the women that you used, your case was based on the fact that a mother come out and said that what she said about Jamal attacking her daughter wasn't true. I wore covert recording, went to her house and said, what happened? She said, yeah, it is true. But they threatened to rape me, Tommy. Yeah. You'd know this if you watched the film. Yeah. So all of it was lies. People were
I will watch the film.
Well, the mother says. So what I say is, okay, so Jamal was there, yeah. So when your daughter got attacked, so why have you said he wasn't now? Yeah, which is what your case was based on, because she retracted her statement. They threatened to rape me, Tommy. This is in a town with the biggest Muslim rape gang our country's ever seen. In Huddersfield. You are aware that the leader of Huddersfield Council, yeah, is the man who's now resigned through fraud, yeah, the Muslim gentleman. His brother is the imam who organised the Batley school protests that drove the teacher who's still in hiding now for his life. That's his brother. That same imam is the man that brought Muslim mobs to the school. After you inflamed it, men were outside the school looking for the little English kid. Yeah,
Actually, Tommy, I will agree with you on that. I was very much against any sort of demonstration at the school. I had words with that imam after he called me, actually, afterwards, and I was very negative towards him, and I was aware of his connection with the brother. I very much suspect that entire interaction was about protecting his own brother. I agree with you on that.
His brother's council spent £275,000 buying the silence to prevent the truth ever being told. Again, that's all in the freedom of information request that I put in. On non-disclosure agreements, they spent £274,000. I've got one teacher on camera saying he got paid £18,000 to not tell the truth. I've got the head teacher saying, Tommy, you'll never get the truth out there about this. All you're going to meet is a wall of silence. Do you know why they meet a wall of silence? Because people like you threaten to ruin people's lives for telling the truth. People like you try to sue them and try and destroy them, or you hire people to go threaten their family in their home. That is why people remain silent. You're part of the problem, not me.
Well, your interpretation is that somebody who was there to give you legal papers is somehow a threat
You
to your
hired
family in the home.
Mohammed, did you know?
You wait, come
You
on,
hired
Akanji. Let's be real.
Mohammed,
You
you
saw
hired
the video that he put out threatening Tommy's kids. You don't think that
you
he's a
That
hired
was
threat?
that was after all of these incidents.
Mohammed,
You knew what kind of guy he was. That's why you hired him.
You hired him knowing there's a threat to my family's life by Antifa. You actively sought out someone and hired them as an Antifa extremist to send to my kid phone. Let's not pretend anything. That's what you've done.
Well, come on,
And that's
Tommy.
why I
You're
go
the
back to
guy
your
who's
country.
The
who's
video's
the
up
football
there for everybody to
hooligan.
watch.
Nobody wanted to go anywhere near you because of the threat of violence that you
I'd have
posed.
met you. I'd have met you.
You've recently, yeah.
I'd have met you. You contacted me, I'd have met you.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll DM you, Tommy. Yeah, I'll DM you, and I'll give you my number.
Mate, I know your
And
number.
yeah,
I know your
if there's
Volkswagen
any,
Jeep that you drive. I know where you live. I know everything, yeah? So the point is, I've never gone near your house. I know exactly where you parked your car.
but did you not go to my colleague's house?
No, your colleague, yeah? Your colleague, when basically, because they threatened the life of my kids, my ex-wife started legal proceedings against your colleague. Your colleague then collapsed his company and said he moved to Pakistan. I knew he didn't move to Pakistan. So I went there to get a recording of the fact he's not in Pakistan. That's why I went there. I was very nice and polite, yeah? I was very nice and polite. And then the fact is...
Well, he wasn't. No, he had moved.
I've got the recording.
And he.
I record everything, Mohammed. I went there simply to show he's lying. And the fact is, after he collapsed his company, every employee from that company just went, including his son, went straight over to Burlington's, the company that then took over the case to go against my family. So they like the law, you like the law, but when it comes against you, you get yourself around it. That's what that lawyer, who's your friend you're talking about, Farouk Bajwa, who's an expert on GDPR, broke GDPR by giving my children's address to an extremist, which you know. So to get around that, he collapsed his company and said he's never going to be a lawyer again. Yeah. So you got around it. That's the only. So let's not pretend the reasons why I went to his home. I didn't go to his home. If I wanted to go to someone's home, Mohammed, I could have come to your. As I said, I know where you are. Yeah. I have never come near your house. You have an innocent wife in there. Yeah. I've never done that. All right. Never. So stop lying, okay?
Well,
What you are,
many of
you
the
are the
things you
immoral one.
said.
Mohammed, you're the
Oh,
immoral
well,
one.
no, I had death threats
Not,
at my home.
not
Yeah,
from me,
a
you
nutter
didn't.
with a knife came and put a knife in my door when my
Mohammed,
wife
you've
was
represented every
alone.
terrorist in our nation. You've been linked with them. You've supported them. You've called them pleasant names. Yeah, that's nothing to do with me. What I'm saying is, Mohammed, there's only one immoral person here. I didn't send anyone
So
to home.
the only time this happens is after you made an issue out of it to all of the followers. Yeah,
Mate,
so that my wife is at home, gets
you're
a
lying,
person put a
Mohammed.
knife in the
You're
door.
lying,
Yeah,
Mohammed.
no, oh, I'm lying.
You're
That's a
lying.
matter of record. There's various death threats that came to my office as well. Matter of record.
You're lying, Mohammed.
Tommy.
What's
So
that got to do with
yeah,
me, Mohammed?
you know
What's that got to do with me?
you know full well that when you were initiating dog piles on people, what the results would be. And the fact is that Jamal,
If I wanted to,
the
Mohammed,
Jamal,
if I wanted to, after you sent someone to my children's home, do you not think if I wanted to, I could have called a demonstration outside your home? Do you not think I could have highlighted where you live? I never done it. I never ever
no,
done
the
it.
Daily Mail did that for you. Yeah,
Well, I'm not part
yeah.
of Daily Mail. They hate me. My point is, you can't sit here and sit like you're taking the moral high ground when you terrorise 3 young children out of their home. Right? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to act like you're the moral, you're the superior one here. Mate, you're a coward. You targeted my children. You couldn't play the man. And you're acting like, well, we had to do that. You had already sent those letters signed for delivery. They'd already been signed for at the address. You were doing a publicity stunt to target my family. That's what you've done. Yeah, everyone knows what you've done. It's all in the film silence, Mohammed. It doesn't look good for you. What it shows is that I was the only journalist in the UK who told the truth. These tactics of threats and intimidation that you use might work on most people. They will not work on me, which is why I've continued to stay on my principle and tell the truth. It's because that young boy Bailey, whose life you destroyed, when you offered me £50,000, when you said pay £50,000, I sat down and was told what's going to happen. Yeah? You can't win in these cases. It's going to be financially destroy you. I made the decision to continue to tell the truth because the truth actually matters. It might not matter to you. It matters to me. And it matters to what you've done to that little boy's life who tried to kill himself on Christmas Eve. That boy come to live with me for 3 years, Mohammed. Yeah,
And his sisters.
and his little sisters. I took that whole family in. I've never publicly spoke about that. They lived with me. I've got him telling me now the only good Christmas he has ever had in his life because he had a troubled life. You didn't care
You
about
know
him.
what Tommy did? I was there. I'll tell
You,
a story,
you,
Tommy.
you
He
didn't.
took them all. There was Muslims in groups of cars circling their house. And he
Um,
went up to Huddersfield
yeah,
and he helped them get their stuff out.
Well,
And then he
actually,
took them to his own house.
what
I'm not done. He took them to his own house and he said, go get whatever you want from IKEA. Bedding, beds, a Christmas tree, a TV, so that they could be safe and warm around Christmas because you people
And then
ruined
Mohammed,
that boy's life.
Mohammed, on Christmas Eve, the boy who was
I
15
was
years
there.
old, locked himself inside his house and took an overdose. They'd kicked the door off for ambulances. I watched the effects of what you'd done, and then you sent me letters like I should retract the truth and leave this kid out to hang this kid. And that's why I made the decision not to. And I said to you, no, take me to court. And you know what? You bankrupt me. You've done me for 1.6 million. You ruined my life. And I'm still happy I told the truth. I do not regret 1 minute of it. And I'm telling Bailey that now because the little boy's still messaging me about how he's upset because it's destroyed my life, how he's upset because they're going to try and lock me up for 2 years. And I keep telling him it's not his fault. Do you know why it's not his fault, Mo? Because it's your fault. It's your fault, not his. He was a child. You caused the lobby on. You said it was a racial attack. You said all these things with no evidence. The police proved it. In the documentary, we have the police records that say it wasn't a racist attack. You sat on TV and lied to the nation. You said it was because he was Syrian. As I said, mate, I went to other Syrian refugee families, watched the film with covert cameras. I spoke to the fathers, I spoke to the little girls who got embraced in that community. It wasn't a racist community. They were embraced. They love it. They were success stories. You could have told us success stories of Syrian refugees. Instead, the whole racist, open border, Syrian refugee is the victim, white boy, English boy is the racist. It sells. You know it sells. You raised £180,000. This wasn't organic. You put in a criminal record check. The incident, the video didn't go viral. You made it go viral. You lined it up. It's all in the documentary. I look at the date you put in a criminal record check on the father. So 4 weeks later, when you get your results, the next day the video goes viral. You planned it all. You got £180,000. Where did that money go? So don't talk to me about grifting. Right? All you've ever done is grift. You grift off terrorism. You support rapists. You support jihadists. That's who you are, not me. So you're sitting on here trying to take some moral high ground. You terrorise innocent families. And the problem is that these tactics, which we're talking about, using civil courts to try and silence and harass and intimidate people, coming on and saying you're going to get a legal letter from me. I don't care about your legal letter. I don't care about the courts. I don't care if they want to put me in jail. I care about the truth. I care about innocent people's lives being destroyed, man. And that's what you've done to push your narrative, not mine. You took a narrative, and which was a lie. You created it and you planned it, and then you pumped it around the world without a care.
You didn't see the fear in Bailey's eyes and his mother's eyes and his two little sisters' eyes as people were circling his house. You don't know what that was like for them, and you don't care because it
Well,
doesn't fit your narrative.
just so you guys know, he just rage quit. He left the stage.
Yeah, he left, you guys. But I mean, I'm glad you
Because
guys
he's
were able-
wrong. He's
No,
caught in all the
just,
bullshit he does.
if you listen to me now, I'll tell you what all that was about, which I don't care either. All of that was about getting a conversation that he can record to try and push now to get me a 2-year prison sentence for breaching the injunction. That's all that's about. He thinks he's clever. He thinks he's sly. As I said, it's all in the film. He's a professional at this. I may sound irate and angry. He has caused me the most upset in my family. Yeah, he has caused the destruction of my home life with my children. I no longer get to live with them, all from their actions. He is the celebrity jihadist lawyer in the UK. They have mass support, mass funding. They've infiltrated every system. I actually get covert recordings of a leading Muslim journalist who doesn't realise, he doesn't know he's talking to my friend who's recording him. And he says, we know Mohammed Akanji was a former member of Al-Mujahideen, who are a prescribed terrorist organisation. So he's not doing this out of wanting to support law. His job has been to silence and attack me and end my voice and silence my voice. And he's worked every day for it. As I said, their legal fees were £700,000. Yeah, he did offer me a deal to pay him £50,000. And I made the decision, which is the correct decision, not to take that blackmail, which is what it was. So if I sound angry, I have been angry with that man. Not angry enough to go to his house, not angry enough to upset his wife in her home, not angry enough to even ever share his address. I've never even shared it. So when he sits here trying to sound all posh and upmarket, like he's got the moral high ground, he's a coward who uses dirty tactics to win over to get his agenda. And his agenda is silencing criticism of Islam. Probably the same as old Teddy's.
So I actually just watched that video of the guy that was sent to your house, and if that person knocked on my door, I'm just thankful to live in the United States where they haven't banned the right to protect and praise God for 2A. That's all I can say.
He threatened to murder my children. The police didn't. If you watch the film, the police didn't even arrest him. I ring the police officer after 3 months and say they also threatened when my children moved to a new house, they threatened them there. And the police were involved and they traced the phone numbers, and it all comes from Akanji. It all comes from them. Yeah. And they traced them. And I asked the police officer, and I'm telling you, he works with the security services. That's my opinion. He works with the security services, and this was an organised attack on me. And their goal was to financially bankrupt me, destroy me, and leave my family vulnerable. Because if they could do that, I can't do my activism, I can't do my work. I'm in a very vulnerable and weak position. And that's been their goal the whole time. So
yeah, and this is the fundamental function now of the press as it stands, because you've been completely depersoned, you've been denied any kind of rights whatsoever, and basically, like they've objectively destroyed your life. And this is why we're having this conversation.
Hey,
It's because
Tommy.
we can't allow the press to do it. Yes,
Hey,
Kyle, go
Tommy,
ahead.
have you seen the American southern border? I hear if you walk right over it, you might get yourself a phone, maybe a trip to New York, a nice hotel, and you probably could get a stipend. We seem to be doing that for people that don't have anything to do with this country, and that seems like
Upgraded seats now.
you might as well
Tell him the
just roll
story,
into
Tom.
Mexico
Tell him the
City and
story.
I was going to say, Kyle, Tommy's already tried that. They
Yeah.
kicked him out. Hi, Tommy.
There's more, Kyle. Thank you for asking.